Welcome to the Cubby Jaxon Show. I'm your host, Cubby Jaxon. Welcome to the Den. This is where we do all of our creative activities. I got a great guest for you today. His name is Stacy Landris. He is in charge of the parole people here in Highlands County, so we're going to get some input on him. And Mama Bear won't be here today. It's Wednesday, as she comes on Saturdays. This is our first Wednesday show. This is show 5. I hope it's enjoyable for you. So we're going to get rolling on some stories. And again, welcome to the show. We hope you enjoy it. And again, welcome our guest, Mr. Stacy Landris.
Cubby Jaxon, my man, the myth, the legend. Thanks for having me, brother. I was so excited to be on this show. I wore my good fishing shirt today.
Yeah, I got my fishing shirt on too, but I had to throw a blazer on because I didn't want people to think we called each other in advance and said, hey, we got to wear matching shirts. So tell the folks what you do, man.
Hey, well, I'm the director of the State Probation and Parole Office here in Highlands County, Florida. Basically, what we do is we supervise folks that have been sentenced to felony probation. They've committed felony crimes. The court sentences them to probation. We supervise them, make sure they're following all the rules, and we do the best we can to try to help them through. If they don't, we take them back before the courts. We're also dealing with a lot of folks that are coming out of prison. It used to be called parole. It's now called conditional release, but we're dealing with those cases too. So that's basically what we do. We're trying to keep the public safe and help these folks get back into the real world.
And how's that job working out for you? How long you been there?
Man, I've been there for 32 years. I can't believe it's been 32 years. It's been good to me.
So you've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly.
My man, I have seen so much good and so much bad, but it seems recently, well, over the last few years, it just continues to get worse. Back when I first started, we looked like insurance salesmen. We had our little short sleeve shirts,
little ties,
and our little ties. We thought
nice.
we ought to be working at Walmart, and we were dealing with folks that were on for smoking weed. And now my guys that work for me look like they're dressed like they are on the goon squad. They're dressed like SWAT team members going out and dealing with murderers and violent criminals. So
I'd imagine you'd have to do that on a daily basis, I would imagine as well, correct?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So as far as your job, I'm sure you deal with a lot of police department on that gig as well.
Oh, that's our main thing. We deal with the sheriff's office, the local police departments. We also deal with state agencies like the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. And quite honestly, we couldn't do our job without the help of these good folks. A lot of good people help us. And that's the way we're able to help people. That's the way we're able to keep the community safe. So, you know, I got a lot of respect for our local law enforcement. Respect the blue.
Sure. So they come with you on a lot of these deals. I mean, when you go to the house and, you think somebody's up to something, or did you just go for like their checkup on a weekly basis?
Well, a little of both. One of the things that I always thought was scary, especially now in today's society, a lot of our officers are going out in the middle of the night. They're all by themselves. They're going to a violent offender's house, knocking on doors in bad neighborhoods.
You do this in the middle of the night as well?
All hours. They have curfew checks they have to do. So, it could be any time of the day, any time of the night. So they're often out all by themselves. But in a lot of cases, if we feel like they're in danger, we do go with the sheriff's office. And a lot of times the sheriff's office ask our guys to travel with them. We have some certain powers that they don't have that helps us get into houses. So that's one of the things we do to all work together.
Sure. Now, what are some of the basic reasons why you'd have to go to somebody's house? And, do you so you don't bring the sheriff's department all the time, but if there is a problem, then obviously you'd have to bring the sheriff's department with you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. They come with us. A lot of times if we're having to search a residence or if we're going to do an arrest, we'll bring the law enforcement with us.
What would the arrest constitute? Like a dirty piss test, or just not showing up for a meeting, or what entails with that?
Yeah, well, it depends on the person we're dealing with. Back in the day, we used to have a zero tolerance policy. If someone was to fail a drug test or do something they weren't supposed to, they went to jail. We did the arrest. Now we're way more into a rehabilitative mindset. Someone fails a drug test, we're trying to help them. We get them into treatment services. A lot of the minor violations, we work with the courts to make sure they are not going back to jail for something like that. we're really putting a lot of emphasis on rehabilitative efforts at this point.
Now you being there that's so long, I guess you're in charge of those guys. Do you still do the door-to-doors? Is that something you still do, or you kind of just point your finger? Are you the pointer of the job?
Yeah, kind of. Cubby, I mean, look at me. You can tell I'm too old to be out there knocking on doors.
You look like you could beat me in the 40-yard dash. That's a fact.
Hey, well, that's a young man's game. A lot of these guys are in their 20s. They look like they could run a marathon or be an Olympic athlete. So that's not for me anymore. I sign off on things now.
So when some of these guys, I'd imagine when they get there, there's some sort of escape. Do you hear the windows breaking, people jumping out the back windows, or is there? You do like the teams when they come in? There's a guy in the front, guy in the back. There's the car outside. Do you wait to turn the lights on after the guy's at the back door? That way, when he starts running, you can just nail him coming out the back door.
Oh, absolutely. A lot of times, these guys know they're in trouble. They know we're coming for them, and
But you don't text them first and be like, "Hey, dude."
We do not. It is not uncommon for somebody to take off running.
Sure, dude. When you go there for a simple arrest, is it knock on the door with the warrant, or do they just bash in the fucking door, or how do they roll with that?
If it's a probation arrest, we'll usually knock on the door and try to get them out there and explain to them, unless it's something that was a violent crime or they've done something that they need to be taken off the street. They're a threat.
Now, when you say threat, you're talking about violent crimes, some sort of carjacking. If it's a serious crime like that, is there still a knock on the door? Or is that the bum rush?
Well, there's almost always going to be the knock on the door.
That's good.
Yeah. However, it's not uncommon for that back door to fly open. That's when the cops go running and the dogs get turned loose. So it's an interesting scene when that happens.
Sure, I bet it is. Now, as far as a standpoint from the sheriff's department, are they on call? Like, are they already there at the office, or they're just a phone call away? So you give them the address, they meet you there, and then it's.
Exactly. It's got to the point now we have such a good relationship with the local law enforcement. What will happen is most of my officers have phone numbers of all the deputies that are on duty, and they'll just make a call and they'll come running over. And if we can't do it that way, we'll call dispatch and they'll send somebody right to us.
Oh, well, that's good. That's good. I did see the sheriff's name mentioned quite a bit on my news feed this week. So I guess he's in the loop with everybody as well.
Yeah, let me tell you, Paul Blackman.
Yep, that's it.
He is a fine man. And, if you're here in Highlands County, don't forget to vote for Paul Blackman again. He's been great for our community. He's a good man. He wants to keep the public safe, and he also does everything he can to help people. So he's a good man.
Yeah, I read up on him a little bit. I actually spoke to the people at the Republican Party place today, and the lady Penny, hi Penny, who was very nice to me on the phone, mentioned his name and said that they're all pretty good. They're all pretty tight there, man, with the commissioners and the boards and the guy that runs the state. I mean, she was saying that she was the treasurer, and they were tight with Paul as well. And she said good things about him, and I'm hoping to get him on the show here at some point. But today, it's your show there, Mr. Landris, and I had a few more questions about, you must have the good, the bad, and the ugly. So do you have some sort of like, I would imagine when you're targeting these guys, when they're being targeted to come out on parole like that you have some guys that, or ladies, whoever that may be, that they may be on the better half, and you try to do as much as you can to help them when they get out. I mean, you said something about a program as well that you guys were involved in.
Yeah, absolutely. A few years ago, myself and Paul Blackman and a few other people, we decided that the only way we can really stop that cycle of people going back and forth to jail was to get them the resources they need. One of the things we noticed, folks would get put on probation. They didn't have anywhere to live. They didn't have any job skills. Because of that, they ended up violating their probation and went right back to jail. And it was just a revolving door. So we were able to start with
that's just got to be a bitch, man. When you get out and get to that point, you think everything's going to be okay. And then you get that knock at the door again, man. How brutal is that?
Yeah, it's terrible. And a lot of them, I actually felt sorry for them. We deal with a lot of people that are not bad people. They got caught up in drugs or did something stupid and just can't find their way out of the criminal justice system. So that's how we came up with the Goals Reentry Program.
It sounds like a great program. Yeah, we were talking about it the other day.
Yeah, and basically what it is we've been able to get the entire community involved with this. A lot of resources have been afforded to us. And so when these folks are on probation or they're coming out of jail, we're able to to help them find housing. We're able to help them find jobs. We have programs. We can get them drug treatment or, things to help them with their family issues. And it's something that we've never had before in the past.
That was not my wife. That is my fur baby. So everybody just sit down, calm down, relax. Everything's fine.
I don't blame him. I'd bark at me too.
Now this program that gets started, you said that's directly involved with the sheriff of Highlands County as well, too, right?
Yeah, exactly. We are partners in this program. And quite honestly, we provide a lot of the manpower, but the sheriff's office has so many resources. He's the one that's really made this work. And we've been able to help a lot of people. We've been able to do a lot of good things for the community.
Now, what does this include when they get out? Are you talking about like besides jobs? I mean, is there anything else like as far as money, maybe apartments? They do used cars. Anybody donate anything like that as well?
Well, we get a lot of things donated, but the key things is these deals that have been made with state agencies and local agencies, where these folks they're out of jail, but they can't turn on their lights. They don't have the money to turn on their power. So we have programs that can help them get money to turn on.
Oh, that's fabulous.
Yeah, we have transportation available for. Matter of fact, we even have a program called Bike to Work. If someone has a job and they don't have transportation, I'll get them a bicycle so they can at least get to work until they have enough money to afford their own transportation. So we've been able to do a lot of things. But one of the things I'm most proud of is every year for the last 3 or 4 years, we've been able to do a Christmas program.
That's outstanding.
Yeah. One of the things I've noticed is over the years, the children of these folks caught up in the criminal justice system, I felt terrible for them. They're not, especially come Christmas time, they're not getting gifts. They're not getting the kind of things that other kids were getting.
And I'm sure it's not from lack of trying. I'm sure that's just the way the system is set up.
That is exactly right. Especially someone with a lower income coming out of jail, hadn't been working. Their children are the ones that really suffer come Christmas.
Well, I tell you what, I think that's such a fabulous story. I have my bike out back, and you're welcome to take that with you.
Hey.
And donate it to whoever needs it. It needs a couple tubes, but I have the tubes as well. And if you don't know how to change that, I can refer you to a gentleman that changes bike tubes for a living.
Hey, well, I'll go you one better than that. We have a local bike shop that fixes all these bikes that are.
Oh, well, that's fabulous. Will it fit in the trunk of that SUV, or do we got to strap it to the roof like one of them deers?
Brother, if I got to, I'll duct tape it to the top of my car to get it back there.
Well spoken. We're going to give that a golf clap. That was well spoken. Moving on to a different story. I don't mean to cut you off, but I want to get to this story real quick. The other day I came across this story, and what this is basically, if I can find the dang thing. Okay, here we go. So yeah, the criminal department, the criminal area. So the Department of Health, paving the way to get us another lockdown going on here. I found the article, and it goes on to say American tax dollars were hard at work this holiday season at the Department of Health and Human Services, where the Public Readiness for Emergency Preparedness Act was quietly amended. No vote was even necessary, which I think pissed a lot of people off because nobody really had a chance to decide for themselves whether they want this to happen or not. The changes made unilaterally without requiring any legislative vote expanded the legal counteractions that the department may take to combat Ebola or any other kind of virus or pandemics. The changes, which were authorized to 2028, have a sweeping implications. Now, what they're saying is the new amendment, PrEP Act, they call it, covers federal funding for counteractions against viruses, including all pandemics. And these devices, therapeutics, diagnostics, and most importantly, vaccines, considering that they've never had Ebola or Marburg here in the United States, nor is there any credible cause for concern. A lot of people remember monkeypox, which was, 100 years ago. These actions are just in time for a pandemic that doesn't exist. And as I read this, they're kind of using it more as a pandemic for a business model. And as Mama Bear and I always tell you, be prepared, man. And it's much more than just ammo. I mean, let's be serious here. You have to have a food supply. You have to have a water supply. If you got fur babies like us, you have to consider doing some preps for them as well. I mean, we have the 50-gallon jugs with the dog food, and we try to do everything we can to be prepared ourselves. I mean, they're taking the page right out of COVID-19 with this emergency authorization playbook. The Department of Health and Services took steps to defend their big pharma, of course, because it always falls back to the money, right? They always tell you follow the money.
it's always about the money. And I will tell you what you just read to me, that is scary. And I don't want to sound like one of these crazy conspiracy theory people, but didn't it seem like something like this was going to happen right before the election?
Well, it's been going on for decades, man. I mean, you got Charles Schwab from this New World Order, and if you look at some of the stuff he says, you can go look it up yourself, Charles Schwab, and it'll really freak you out, man. It's not sustainable is the problem. The same thing with the EV cars, but they've been talking about this for decades, man. They're cutting down the food supply. He's already said literally they want to cut the population down in half. And then now it's not even the United States. They're dumping these illegal immigrants all over the world, man. I mean, Germany's in a big mess right now. Ireland's in a big mess right now. And Poland, too, was a big story. I had mentioned the Poland president not too long ago, and he went on to say that they haven't had a terrorist attack in 100 years. And the lady said, are you going to take the immigrants in from Saudi Arabia and Israel and all this? And he's like, fuck no, man, I want nothing to do with it. He goes, if you look back, Poland's the only country in the world that hasn't had a terrorist attack in the last 100 years. And he says, because we're not going to take in the problem.
Yeah, he's right on with that.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, and the scary part is you're saying about the New World Order, all you have to do is listen to what they're saying. I mean, they're not even trying to hide it.
Oh, no.
And now they're doing it.
And when you look back and you look at some of these videos, like Bill Gates, we got this story on Bill Gates. He's launching this program, and they're already testing and tuning it, where they're going to send up these jets into the atmosphere, and they're going to release what they call as dust. And what they're saying is they're going to decrease some of the sunlight to help with global warming. Okay, and global warming, I'm going to let everybody know this right off the bat. Global warming is bullshit, and I'm going to tell you exactly why. Because your big bankers and your financiers and your hedge funds, like AOC said, or John Kerry said, or even these guys 20 years ago, it was all going to end because of global warming, and the seas are going to rise a foot. I'm going to tell you what happens if the seas rise a foot. Half of Florida is underwater. Half of Texas is underwater. Half of Europe is underwater. And if you think for 1 minute that these guys are going to give you 30, 40-year mortgages for these 5, 10, 25, $30 million homes on the ocean and know that they're not going to get their money back, you wouldn't be getting mortgages. So there's another thing. You're talking about the smartest people in the world, and they're not going to give you a mortgage if they thought for 1 minute that house was going to be underwater.
That's a fact. And let me tell you, first of all, I don't mean to sound crazy, but
not on this show.
Yeah, but if we get the sea to rise, I live in the middle of Florida. All of a sudden, we have beachfront property, my friend.
Yeah, well, we're 100 feet above sea level, so yeah, if it goes up 10 feet, my house value goes up about 3 times. 3 times a month. I found a video about this guy, like I was telling you about the food shortage and the UK and Bill Gates. I mean, Bill Gates is the one in charge of all these green burgers that you're seeing at the BK. He does lab grown meat, which is absolutely the scariest fucking thing I ever heard of in my life. But I found this little clip, and I'm going to play it for you because I want you to check this out and pay attention. Pay attention.
Floating around online, and it got me to thinking. You see, Irish farmers pressured to cull up to 200,000 cows to meet climate goals. I've been seeing things like this all over the world. I've been seeing all of these headlines about governments trying to get rid of animals so that they can reach, quote, climate goals. Reminds me of this. In 1873, the American government killed 1.5 million buffalo in 1 year alone to starve Native Americans so that they could become more dependent on the American
that's what
government.
I'm trying to
There's
say.
A lesson there.
He says there's a big lesson there. Yeah, because they literally wiped out 18,000 buffalo. And that was strictly to starve out the Indians, man. So they have to live off the government. And they're doing it right now. I mean, with the increase in these illegal immigrants, man. And again, there is a proper way to come in and the back door is wide open. China's making billions of dollars selling fentanyl to the cartels, which are funneling right in. They're making billions of dollars sending over their satellites and the rest of their bullshit. And then you look back and they're like that right now. They just in New York, there was 2,000 children that were removed from this school, right? Because they brought in the illegal immigrants. And it's cold and it's windy. So instead of putting them up in a government building, they literally had the kids evacuated from the schools to make room for these illegal immigrants. And it's just getting worse and worse, man.
Well, then how crazy are we? This is almost our fault. At least back during the Indian times, they went out to slaughter those. We're just letting it happen right in front of us. These are our cows. These are our farms. And it's just happening right in front of us. And we're not saying a word about it.
Yeah, it's just getting worse and worse. There was another story. Now that you brought that up, I want to talk about it. And So here it is. So Georgia farmers staged the largest protest ever, blocking roads in the country. And the movement opposes against the climate alarmists' policies. And basically what they did is they're saying that they're going to reduce everything. They're reducing their tax breaks, and then they're going to charge them more money for the wheat, the grain, the seeds. And these farmers are flipping out. And I got this just jackpot of a video. So check this out. That's them dumping shit, man. They're over it. This is all government buildings. Yeah, they've had it. That's a great video. Fixing shit and cow shit, man, all over the government buildings. Look at them all, man. Look at them all. Yeah, so it's just crazy what they're doing to them over in Germany. And it just doesn't stop, man. I mean, it's deprive the people, get them poor, get them broke, get them on government assistance. And it's like anything else, man. It's like domestic violence. When somebody beats you long enough, you think you deserve it. When somebody calls you a piece of shit long enough, you think you are. And that's what they're doing to the American people right in front of our own eyes. And bringing in the illegals, trying to get more votes. It's just destroying people, man. I mean, people are dying. And these people on the Hill think it's some sort of joke living in their glass bubble. And somebody needs to fucking pop it. Because I'm going to tell you right now, people aren't going to be putting up with this shit too much longer. And trying to take a president off the ballot, I'm going to tell you what, man, the last time they tried to take a president off the ballot was Abraham Lincoln. And the Civil War started. And again, I don't think we're too much farther from that, to be honest with you.
No, as a matter of fact, when that starts happening, that is the true end of our democracy. When we can't vote for the candidate we want to, that's the end of it. And then how crazy it's going to be when these Republican states retaliate by taking Biden off the ballot.
Oh, they already are. Yeah, they already are.
Yeah, I could see where we end up not even having a true, real election here at the end of this year. And that to me is scary. I mean, we're going to be sitting there going, where did our country go?
Yeah, and everybody should be scared about it. I mean, it's, some of them wild cards on the left, they're all about, fuck Trump and fuck this, but this isn't about Trump. The day that the U.S. citizen can't vote for who they want to, that's it, man. We're on lockdown and there's no coming back from that. Anyway, I didn't mean to drag you away from your story. That was such a good story. So I want to go back to it. So you're doing the charity drive, and I'm going to give you my bike tomorrow. You can come pick it up after work or the weekend. Good. Yeah, for sure. We're really going to do that.
Yeah, brother. I forgot all about my story.
I know, man. I get caught up in these stories because I'm an American, you see, and that shit pisses me off. These people on the Hill that can't take care of children and old people shouldn't have a fucking job.
Amen.
And these blue cities, you keep voting them back in, and you wonder why your cities are falling apart. Stop voting for the shit.
Right. I see video after video of these liberal city voters complaining about how bad it is and then vote for the same policy.
Yeah, it's like the mayor of New York and the Markle, whatever her name is, the governor there in New York. They're like, come to us. We're a sanctuary city. We'll take care of you. We'll feed you. We'll do this. We'll do that. And after like 4 or 5 months of that shit, they're like, we had enough. We can't be a sanctuary city no more. And you think about it. The mayor, Greg Adams, was talking about, we're getting 3,000 to 4,000 people a week. They're getting 12,000 people a day in Texas. So you're crying alligator tears when I hear that shit, because I could give a shit less.
Right. Well, the smartest thing that happened was the governor of Texas busing all of these migrants into those cities.
That's fabulous.
He really called their bluff. And now all of a sudden they're like, oh, no, what are we going to do with all these migrants? Well, how do you think these southern states feel?
Yeah, they have no clue. They really just have it's not that they don't have a clue. They just don't give a shit. And they just don't give a shit.
Well, it's all about power. And you said the greatest thing earlier. It's also about money. Follow the money and you'll figure out why all the bad things are happening.
It is. If you really want to find the solution and you're not sure why, I'm going to tell you why. And one simple word: power. Because all they want is votes and all they want is control. Granted, some people on the right do too. I mean, I'm not blowing smoke up nobody's ass, and I ain't going to lie to you, because I'm going to be as honest to you as I possibly can on my show. Some of these people are just voting the wrong way, and there's nothing that nobody can do about it until you change their mind. And with all this shit coming out with Epstein, now you're starting to hear about blackmail and other things. So, it's all going to boil to a head at some point. And the American people I think most of us have had enough. You got 40% Democrat, you got 40% Republican, you got 20 that are swaying either way. And the real catch, the real thing that pisses me off personally is the 40% of these Democrats, half of them don't even have fucking jobs. They're too busy fucking eating Tide Pods or protesting for Palestine at Harvard. It's just a big joke. And like I said, I don't know who's going to do something. I wish I could. If I had a plan, trust me, I would fucking implement it. But somebody needs to do something to help the American people. And when I say that, I don't mean black, brown, yellow, white. I still yet to see white privilege. I'm hoping that comes around my way sometime in the new year. But, the Americans as a whole need help. And here they are sending $200 billion to fucking Ukraine. $200 billion fixes everything in this country.
Yeah. How crazy is that? Right
man,
there?
I mean, that's schools, that's education, that's road bridges, that's the homelessness. Every kid that's dying, sleeping on these fucking streets would have a roof over. $200 billion can buy the moon, is what I'm fucking telling you.
Yeah, you hit it right on the head. Why are we worried about the borders and the safety of other countries when we are sitting here struggling?
Yeah, it's the plan, dude. It's that world order plan. I'm telling you, go look up Charles Schwab from the world order, man. You'll know exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, well, Cubby, I saw something. I didn't know if it made me laugh or made me sad.
You weren't looking at the cherry in my drink earlier, were you?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but I saw where we're spending 200 and something million, $250 billion on migrants, when a border wall would have cost $16 billion.
Yeah, they're up over $4 billion. And then right now they're saying that there might be like 8, maybe 10 illegal. And those are the only ones they know about. I mean, there's at least 2 million gotaways. And then there's the ones that they don't know about. So they could very well be up close to 15 million now. And that's what they were expecting at the end of Biden's term. And we just started the new year, man. I mean, it's 4 times coming over the border what Trump had. And these are just open gates, dude. And I'll tell you another thing that pisses me off. For you families at home that had a hard time through Christmas, these people are getting cell phones, they're getting $5,000 gift cards as they land on the plane, they're getting free air tickets and bus rides anywhere they want to go, and they're putting them up at the fucking Ritz, man. I saw this thing the other day. They got them at the Ritz, they got them at the Royce Hotel, they got them at all these fucking places. People are living in their fucking cars for Christmas, lucky to get a donut, man, a fucking donut.
Yeah,
and a glass of milk.
Yeah, I can't believe that this has been allowed to happen. And I'm going to tell you something, Cubby. At first, I thought it was incompetence with this border issue.
Yeah,
but after all this, I am convinced it's on purpose. This is a plan.
Yeah, it is, man. It is. And it's not going to stop until somebody does. I mean, Congress has the power. I mean, I've been saying since Biden got in office, don't give them any money until they fix the border, right? Congress is in charge of the money. Stop giving them fucking money. And Mike Johnson just went down to the border. We played a clip of that last week, how him and all them guys down there talking a big game, except for Matt Gaetz, because Matt Gaetz is here in Florida, and he does what the fuck he says he's going to do, and he tries, but he has no help from them 7, 8, 9 rhinos that are just, they just keep going Democrat. Nothing gets done. But yeah, Mike Johnson was down at the border with about 13 other people in the House, and he was saying how, nothing's going to happen until this border gets fixed. And he just cut a deal yesterday with Schumer for $1.8 trillion fucking dollars. More money. Stop giving them fucking money until these borders are fixed and our veterans have housing.
And Cubby, that pisses me off so much. First of all,
God, annoying shit, man.
How can that happen? Doesn't that make you think that it's not about Republicans and Democrats? I feel like all of them in Washington are against us.
You're right.
Party. How can we voted for them to stop this?
I'm going to tell you why. It all falls back to power. Every time I talk to somebody and they say, well, maybe you can explain this to me. And every time they ask me that same question, I tell them power. Some people just don't get it. But when you got that power in Washington to do whatever you want to do and not be charged with a crime, I mean, it just keeps happening over and over. And I like I said, if I had an answer or a solution, I would share it with somebody. But I don't know who does something. I mean, what happens when shit hits the fan? Literally shit hits the fan, and the people of this country get fucking pissed off in Colorado and Maine and California and New York when you're telling them they can't vote for who they want to vote for. At some point, shit's going to hit the fan, and I'm going to tell you what, if you think these kids that are at Harvard or these kids that are at Princeton or these fucktards marching for Palestine are going to be the ones defending you, it's going to be us.
Yeah.
And, it's going to be the Americans that are devoted to this country and devoted to what our family did. Some of these heritages in some of these states date back, 7, 8 generations. I mean, these are the people that are going to be standing up for these fucktards that don't know what they're doing. They don't know their asshole from a hole in the ground, and they stand up on these cameras and act like we're here for you. We're here for you. We're going to do our best. We're trying. These fucking people don't do shit.
Right. Well, the shitty part, Cubby, is these young people, and I'm not throwing a blanket over.
Oh, a blanket over all of them.
You know what? Screw them. Here's a blanket for all you young people. You know, so many of them seem like they hate America. All I hear is all these terrible things about how bad of a country we are. Now, what happens if things really do hit the fan? Are they going to be able to help us? Or
no, they're going to join the enemy. You can count on it, dude.
Or is it just Gen X? And let me tell you something.
You can count on it.
If it is just Gen X, last warrior group, we'll be fine, man. We're going to.
You know, I always say so, a little bit of courage goes a long way, man. And you know, it's uplifting when you hear and see somebody that's saying and doing the right things. And then they get in office and they do the same shit, man. They want to give all the money away. We're $2 trillion over our budget every year. At $2 trillion, we can't even pay the goddamn interest on the money. We're $34 trillion in debt. And they go ahead and they issue another $1.8 trillion, man. I don't think it's approved yet, but I'll tell you what, Mike Johnson, you better fucking start straightening up, man, or you're going to be just like the other cat, and they're going to throw you the fuck out of there, too, because people need to stand up for Americans, man.
We will run you right out of here. Hey, Gates already said it. Everybody was mad at Gates when they ran out the last guy, but he said he was going to do it if he didn't fulfill his promises.
Yeah, McCarthy said the same thing. He was going to go in there, and he was going to stand up and be proud. And what a fucking rhino. And Mike Johnson ain't looking much different.
No, because where's all those J6 tapes that he promised?
Yeah. Well, you know, the thing with the J6 is that the FBI, they have all of these Epstein files. And the word is that I'm getting that this could be all a blackmail plan. The FBI is already in a bunch of deep shit anyway. You know, I mean, they don't do nothing right. They had the laptop evidence. They knew it was fake. They still let the proceedings happen. You know, the Russia, all the other bullshit. Robert Mueller, he was going to get him now with 13 Democratic lawyers, some of the best in the country trying to attack Trump, and they found nothing. I mean, after that, don't you think it's time to call it quits? Fuck no. You know why? Because the kids in this country, the young ones that have these leftist parents that think it's okay to mutilate their children and cut their balls off and tell boys they can be girls and girls they can be boys. You see that story about the parent that walked into the school and ripped the pride flag off the wall?
I did.
Oh, man. And she's like, why is this shit up here? Why are you not teaching math and science and history? You know what I say? I tell them all the time. I try to tell my friends all the time. You want to teach these kids something? Have computer day. Have fucking drywall day. Teach these kids how to read a tape measure, man. Maybe they can do something positive with their lives.
Yeah, no doubt. And first of all, I have no problem with the LGB, whatever other letters they added. Now
they can add, the LGBT, it's funny because L is lesbian. You're fucking gay, right? The G is gay. So you're already gay. The B is bisexual. Again, gay. I mean, you can add all the alphabet letters you want. You're still fucking gay.
Yeah, why can't it just be the gay community?
Yeah, and nobody cares, man. I mean, if you want to go puff on the bologna pony, man, pack a sandwich. Everybody's fucking okay with it. Yeah, but when you're under the age of 18 and you got adults telling you to cut your genitals off, I mean, there's a fucking issue there that nobody wants to deal with.
Yeah, that's a fact. And that's why I don't know why the LGBT community is so for that sort of stuff.
We should just start calling it Ellen friends because they're Ellen friends. Get it? Ellen.
Yeah, good one.
Yeah, it's annoying, man. It just goes on and on.
Yeah, but whoever thought it was a great idea to cut your balls off? I mean, no matter how you're feeling inside, you should really keep your balls, bro.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, keep them in a jar to remind you used to be a man.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, no doubt. I mean, like my wife lets me take my balls out every now and then. I'll pulls out the jar.
Notice the keyword "let." That's the keyword right there. Yeah. So, so we're gonna get back to your job because I'm really interested in the charity for sure.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, what we were talking about
the Christmas.
The Christmas program.
And how long has that been going on right now?
This was our 4th year that we've done it this year, and one of the things that I like is it's just gotten bigger and bigger as the years go by. This particular year, we had a ton of people donate toys. Dollar General put in drop boxes for people.
Oh, that's fabulous.
Yeah, and a local celebrity, I'm sure people in Highlands County know Thomas Flash.
Oh yeah, Thomas. No, I don't know.
Yeah,
no, sorry.
Former baseball star. He's a superstar.
Oh, that Thomas Gordon. Yeah, I do know who that is.
Yeah, he donated a bunch of bicycles. So this year we were able to give away 35 brand new bicycles.
Oh, that's great, man.
And over 300 nice toys for children that probably weren't going to get anything. And on top of it, they got to meet Santa and Mrs. Claus. The Grinch was there. It was a great day. It's one of the best days we've ever had.
That's awesome, man. That's great stuff.
And what made me proud was how the entire community, all of Highlands County, was involved in it. I mean, we couldn't have done it without the people of this county.
All right, that's a great story. I want to throw a shout out to my sponsor real quick. Gator Glide Slick Bottom Coatings. Now, this is the bottom stuff you put on your boats. And he does everything. This is for anything marine. Now, he does jet skis and John boats, bay boats, airboats, works great on airboats. I've seen one of his video clips. I'm still trying to get it from him. He's afraid that I might turn that over to the NSA. He's kind of shady like that. But two guys can stand behind this airboat with one hand and just push it. Now, this is Gator Glide. Don't get stuck without it, man. Slicker than possum piss, I tell my friends. So
that's slick.
That's slick, yeah. And his name is David Ward. His number is 863-633-8300. So if you have any interest in getting some Gator Glide, reach out to David Ward. Again, his number is 863-633-8300.
So get your Gator Glide or get
your Gator on. Get your Gator on or get you stuck on. One of the two, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So back to the charity. I just had to break in for that real quick.
Oh no, that was perfect. And what I was saying, I was so proud, and
that is very proud to institute something like that. It's very courageous.
Well, I was proud of the whole community because I mean, how often are you able to get all these different agencies and churches, and when you talk about underprivileged children, everybody wants to help.
Yes.
And so that was amazing.
I mean, once you come up with the idea for that, you got to be pretty eager about it, right? Like everybody's got to be elated about the whole situation, I would think.
Oh, absolutely. Well, every year leading up to it, we're so excited. We can't wait to do it, but it's so much work. Come about December 26th, we're like, oh, I'm so glad that's over with. We'll never do this again.
Yeah.
But then come summertime, we start planning it again.
You got any kind of ballpark on what the total present number was? Do you have an idea on that?
Yeah, it was close to 300.
That's fabulous, dude. That's fabulous. There was another story I wanted to go over here about the United States junior hockey team winning their gold medal. Woo-hoo! You boys kicked some ass, dude. That was fun to watch. I caught quite a bit of the story, and
those kids can play.
Yeah, those kids played. There was some nice shots going on, and they beat Sweden 6-2. By the way, in case you didn't catch it, and these kids were just phenomenal, man, just phenomenal. And I got a little clip here. I got two clips actually. This is the hit of all hits, and it was legal. I mean, we saw them passing out, the little flags they wave at the game. Now these were napkins because they knew Sweden was going to be crying after this shit. But anyway, great job, guys. And here's a little clip of the game. And this is the hit.
Thunderstorm cuts the middle. Oh my
God.
And the fact that we've already pulled this off.
Yeah, you can't even fake that. And it was a great game, man. It appeared almost it was going to be a lot closer than it was. But when you talk about American pride, these kids got it. And this is the video at the end of the hockey game. And I want to just look into the camera and tell Mari, what's her name? Pernino? What's her name from the
Megan? Rapinoe.
Yeah, Rapinoe. Yeah. I don't know if you can say this about a woman, but you're a douchebag. And all you girls that kneel during that hockey game, and all you guys that kneel in the NFL games.
Yeah, Kaepernick and LeBron.
I mean, you guys are supposed to be role models, and desecrating this country with your bullshit. You can learn a lot from this video. So check it out, guys.
Yeah, you guys.
This gets me. It always gets me, man. There's a kid singing the anthem. Yeah, it just don't get better than that, brother. It just don't get. Look at these kids, man.
They were proud to represent their country.
Yeah, you can't make that up, man. That's just pure pride right there. They're tenacious, man. Those guys were like those little. What do they call them? Those the badgers. What are they? The little badgers.
Honey badgers.
The honey badgers. Yeah, man. They were pretty badass. That was fun to watch.
Hey, it made me start going USA.
Yeah.
USA.
You could hear it from outside, man. I was all over that.
Yes, sir.
So so they have a little article here, and it says tears flowed for the young men and the golden jerseys as the silver medal was placed around their neck. That'd be Sweden. That'd be second place. And again, second sucks. They continued to cheer and chant support from the Scandinavian faithful, and it did them no good. Not while their new, seemingly most hated rivals were celebrated just 30 feet away. While tensions may have boiled over, the quality of the game and the quality of the rivals has only enhanced the drama of the tournament. And Sweden beat them 2 years ago. And I think there was a handful of guys, or 2 guys, 4 guys, whatever it was, that were still there from the last team. So that was some sweet revenge. If you go look at the videos, these kids were sincerely jacked up. And I'm sure the Swedish kids were too a couple years ago. This was a collision course that anyone knew the backstory secretly hoped it would be the final chapter, and it sure as shit lived up to the hype, man. That I can tell you. When asked after the game how the story ends for these players and the rivalry, McGordy, who was the kid that laid the pop on the Swedish kid, said, "Who knows? Maybe this is the start of a new one." So that was a great game, and very proud of the guys. And God bless America, and that's how you do it. That's how you do it, man. When you play for this country, have a fucking spine, man. Have the guts and have the grits to stand up for your country, man. Because without grits, you just some eggs, bitch. I'm just saying.
Hey, that's a fact. You know what? These guys are young, too. Maybe this new generation loves our country. It's those 30-year-olds that seem to be hating everybody. So,
yeah, well, I don't know. I see it from a lot of kids. And again, man, like I tell everybody, man, this isn't about Trump. I mean, this is about the Constitution of the United States, and this is about the Bill of Rights. And when it comes to a point where the government in the United States is telling you who you can and can't vote for, you guys better brace yourself, man, because this isn't going to be the end of it. I can guarantee you that.
Oh, no way. Like you said, it's about power, and I think it's going to get worse and worse till somebody stands up.
And again, man, if anybody that ever says, why this, why that, just power, man. I mean, that's all it's about. So the charity event went well, and so I want to hear some good, the bad, and the ugly. That's what we want to hear, right? That's why you tuned in today, to listen to some correctional shit. So what do we got, man? What's some of the good story that you got for us?
Well, the good stories are anytime you have a successful outcome, and especially since we've had this program, we have a lot of people that in the past never had a chance to be successful. And now I'm having people come to my office that have completed their probation. They got a job, they got their life in order, and they're coming in wanting to shake our hands and write us letters and thank us for everything we did to help them. That was unheard of 10 years ago.
Right now, these are the good notes. This ain't the sour tunes we're talking about.
Oh, no.
If you put that in like a percentage, what do you think of like the 100% of parolees? I would imagine, I would pray that it would be close to half that are really wanting to try to improve their lives, and half of those fail. So it's like 25% or what?
Yeah. Well, honestly, I got them divided into thirds. I got a third of the folks we deal with that are going to do fine regardless. They made a mistake. They messed up. They're going to get through their probation. They're going to be fine. I got a third on the other end that are criminals. They don't care, and there's nothing we can do to fix them. So really, we're focused on that middle group that if we can get them the help they need, they're the ones that have a chance to be successful. They're the ones that can make a difference in their life.
Sure. And you can, I'd imagine doing it that long, you can kind of, just with the breeze of a look, you can kind of tell who the good and the bad and the ugly are, right?
Oh, well, you learn to pick out the bullshitters in a hurry. Everybody that comes through our door says, "Oh, I'm going to do great. I'll be the best person on probation you ever had." And we're like, "Yeah, I've heard that story a few times." Yeah.
Okay, so what about a horror story, man? You got some bad news. We want the juice, man. We want the grit and tits, man. That's what we want in this conversation.
Well, I'll tell you, this goes back a long way, but I was working in a different county, and things were different back then. And it turned out we kind of got used by some law enforcement agencies.
Uh-oh. This is the shit that you want.
Yeah.
This is what we're talking about, baby.
Yeah, they might not have been on the up and up. And of course, I'd never name any names, but this is, like I said, it's a long time ago.
Well, I don't think you have to mention a name when you say something like that. They know who they are.
Yeah.
And they need to straighten up, man.
Yeah, exactly. And fortunately, most of these guys are no longer employed. They were working for a different agency. They asked us to come with them. They just wanted to make contact with somebody at a house, and they knew that we could knock on the door, get them to the door, and possibly go in. And they'd really just like to make sure that everything was okay there. And then we show up.
Just the lead up to this story sounds like a complete setup, man.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I felt like we were set.
I'm not bitching. I think it's a great story. I can't wait to hear the rest of it.
So we get there, and one thing I noticed, me and a couple other probation officers that were with me, I was just a young little buck back then, just a young kid. And I noticed there was several other police cars around, and I'm like, I wonder what that's all about. So I go up, we knock on the door of this trailer. They answered the door, and as soon as that door opened, cops shoved us out of the way, guns drawn, hit the house, go storming in, people go running out of the back, cops are running everywhere.
I don't know if a story was ever good that started with, so we pulled up at the trailer.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. And they really used us to get in that house. And then after they had everybody handcuffed and had chased people through the woods and everything else, they come back and tell us they want to search the house. Needless to say, a lot of drugs were found in that house.
And that's one of those stories where I can say, well, if you don't have the video, it never happened, right? Because
well, the crazy part was the whole thing was a lie. They weren't there to see our person on probation. They knew that a big time drug dealer was in that trailer, and they ended up arresting him with all his drugs. Not sure about the legality of how all that.
Well, couldn't they do that on their own? I mean, why would they need that? I mean, probable cause, a narc. I mean, that's what they do for a living.
Well, they didn't have a warrant; they just had a hunch, but they knew that the probation could get them in the house.
Got it.
And so that was very disturbing to me. And so since that time, we're a little leery with who we work with. But fortunately, here in Highlands County, and I worked with a lot of good folks in Polk County, that never happens. They're all on the up and up, at least in my experience. A lot of guys that you can
that's good.
You can take them for their word. That was in a renegade county.
And I don't even think too many people, honestly, would have a problem with that because they're criminals. I mean, the bad part is when they do that and they don't find shit and it is a bad hunch. I mean, that goes down a whole dark road there.
Yeah, that's a fact. And that happens. A lot of times we're just we got information that somebody on probation's doing bad, and we go and we search the house, and it turns out it was a mad ex-girlfriend.
Always the ex-girlfriend,
it's
baby.
Always the ex-girlfriend. I'll tell you something funny. One of my probation officers, the first thing he tells these young men that get on probation, he goes, if you get a girlfriend while you're on probation, you'll end up in jail. Just be single and play PlayStation until this runs out.
The PS5. We did a cute story last week. There was a 10-year-old boy that was going through this neighborhood, and he wanted to get a PS5, and he was asking the people in the neighborhood, if he could do some yard work or pull weeds or whatever. And it was funny because the kid had reached out to the police department in advance, and one of these assholes called the cops on this 10-year-old kid, man. He wanted to make some money for a PS5. So long story short, the cops showed up, and I guess they passed the hat, man. The cops ended up coming up with about $500, and they got this kid a brand new PS5 when they showed up on site. And if you haven't heard me say this before, look, pay attention. Go blue or fuck you.
Yes,
so let's
sir.
get that story correct.
Yeah. See, that's amazing. And that's the stories you never hear on
Love
the
the good stories. Yes.
Yeah. If you turn on the news, it's nothing but bad. The cops did this, the cop did that. But it's my experience that 99% of them are trying to do the right thing and help their community.
Yeah, I want to believe that too. I mean, there's always bad apples in any group. I mean, whether you talk about cops, Capitol Hill for sure.
Yeah.
Even the genres, the black, white, brown. They always talk about white supremacy and white racism. And the only thing I have to say about racism is whites are not the only group that have racism, and a lot of that's done by the media, and unfortunately, some of the schools now as well. I mean, Harvard. They had that Harvard lady. They had that Harvard lady at the Capitol Hill, and they asked her, so there's nothing against the Harvard guidelines about genocide, and she's like, well, it depends on how you put it into context. I mean, what kind of fucking dense human being do you have to be that you just can't just automatically say that that's just fucked up?
Brother, that's the kind of crazy shit that's going on our universities these days. It's
terrible.
I can't believe it. But fortunately now she's I guess what they do, she have to resign.
Well, they try to get her to resign. Harvard, some of the donors ended up losing like over $1 billion of donations. And after all that bullshit, yeah, she resigned. And then you click on these leftard channels, and all of a sudden it was, because she was black. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, Harvard, like if you get caught plagiarizing, you're evicted. That's it, man. They suspend your ass. They expel your ass. They take all your grades away, and that stays on your record. They have like 50 times. Over 50 times they caught this president in plagiarism. I mean, it's a wild story.
Yeah, at that point, you have to get rid of her. If you don't get rid of her, you have basically legalized plagiarism at that university.
I think I would have got rid of her after the first plagiarism story. And then they make her president. These are the people. Like, they had that Gillum that ran against DeSantis.
Yeah.
And it was like months later, they busted him in a hotel room with a bunch of gay prostitutes and drug land. Like, this is who they want to put in office. This is who they put in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, That's crazy. Doesn't it make you think that maybe that's how all these politicians are? Because it happens over and over. Maybe
I want to believe not, man. I think everybody wants to believe not, but at this point, man, I mean, it's power, man. Power just pollutes these fucking people.
Well, that's how we ended up with a Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, and there's no way to vanquish them. Like, they just need to be vanquished. You know, when I see these people protesting for Palestine and all that other shit, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you're a direct threat to national security.
Right, exactly.
I mean, that's just how it has to be confronted. And it's just power, man. I saw the other day, you know what it was, Zuckerbucks.
Yeah.
He's got this, they bought this section in Hawaii, and they're doing this giant underground bunker. And apparently it's supposed to be like underground condos and air filtration systems and water tanks. Now, that don't freak you out.
Yeah.
That somebody of that kind of power wants to do something like that. That's pretty outrageous.
Hey, pay attention, folks. If the richest people on earth are building survival bunkers, it's time to maybe worry a little bit. I mean, Zuckerberg's got a survival bunker. Musk is trying to go to Mars. Makes you worry, don't it?
Yeah, they're going to have bunkers on Mars soon. It won't be too long.
No doubt.
Yeah, I wanted to do this story about Trump. This was interesting. I kind of edited the article a little bit because it's all true, but I wanted to play this video first and pay attention. Please pay attention. Check this out.
Voting for Joe Biden because of all of the great things he did for Black America in just 3 years. He funded an executive order to research why Black women have a higher mortality rate during childbirth. He funded opportunity zones in minority neighborhoods so that more Black and brown people can create small businesses. He passed prison reform that reversed unjust sentences, and over 5,000 Black men were released from prison. He historically funded the HBCUs more than any other president before him. He invited hundreds of Black people to the White House and had them pray over him. And that's why I'm voting for Joe Biden 2024.
Awesome.
Oh, wait, that was President Trump.
Joe Biden. Oh, yeah, that was President Trump. We all knew that was coming. So I found this article, and this is our 45th president of the United States. Hopefully going to be the 47th. And I found this article, and I wanted to read it to you. So imagine being in President Trump's shoes. The moment on January 6th is you get word the Capitol's getting swarmed. Pardon me. So you were considered a near lockdown to be a two-term president in February of 2020. You delivered the best economy's ever seen, and China unleashes this China virus, and then you warn states repeatedly of the dangers of mass mail-in voting, but Democrats force measures through anyway. And then you watch an election officials cave to COVID and the fear-mongering to relax elections integrity measures, violating election laws and state constitutions like Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. There was a couple, and they changed the laws like literally the month before the election. And you can go back and check that out. You witnessed 51 intelligence officers, including big tech, censor a bombshell story about the laptop that directly implicated Joe Biden. And during that story, there was like 15% of Joe Biden voters that said if they knew that laptop was real, they wouldn't have voted for him.
Right.
That's election changing, man. So you campaigned tirelessly to sold out arenas, crisscrossing the country with historic enthusiasm, man. I mean, if you ever saw one of those Trump rallies on TV, you get what I'm feeling. You win 74 million votes, more than any other president in candidate history has ever won. And keep in mind, he got 5 million votes more than he did in 2016. And Joe Biden got more votes than Obama. You'd be a fucking moron to believe that. I'm just sharing that fucking moron with you because that's some aggravating shit.
Yeah, that's absurd.
You learn that somehow 159,633,369 people voted in the largest turnout in U.S. history, breaking the previous record by 20 million votes. The first time more than 150 million people voted in the highest turnout in 120 years. And then you somehow lose by 42,000 votes in 3 states. And the Dropbox scandals and the controversies. And despite winning practically everywhere, you think back and remember they spied on your campaign. They invented a fake Russia hoax. They impeached you and constantly smeared and lied about you. Oh, I'm not done. Pay attention. You remember that you offered the National Guard troops on J6, and it was denied by Nancy Pelosi and Muriel Bowser. The chief of the Capitol Police even said that they needed it. And they wanted this whole thing's a setup, dude. I watched probably 35 hours of the J6 videos that were released, and I'm going to tell you, the most important video of that, if you watch the beginning where everybody's standing there and they're waving their flags and they're singing along, there's a video that comes up behind this Capitol Police cop. I don't know who recorded the video, probably another cop. And they're throwing concussion grenades and smoke bombs and shooting rubber bullets into the crowd. This was before a fence even moved. And I want to know why these Capitol Police aren't charged with a crime. I mean, there was nothing illegal going on. And go look at the video. I'm not making it up, man. I'm telling you the truth. And then it goes on to say, you remember that you were just hours before peacefully and patriotically march. And then you remember, and I'm not saying, the article saying you remember, I'm not trying to be repetitive here, that you give up on your previous life to be hated, attacked, and vilified by the DC snakes, insiders, and enthusiasts. Your own VP just fist bumped Nancy Pelosi at the U.S. Capitol. That was on video too. That's just fucking insane to me, man. And you wonder why Trump might have been a little upset on J6. He wasn't responsible for what happened, despite what the media says. It's been 4 years of lying, cheating, and betrayal by those who wanted to get Trump at all costs. Nevertheless, he gathered himself and released a videotape telling people to go home on that J6 committee. And he posted that on Facebook, Twitter, and or was Twitter then? Yeah, Facebook and Twitter. They took it down 1 minute after he posted it. He told people to go home and stop it, and they took it down, man.
Sure did. Yeah,
and then they impeached him again. Despite all of it, he decided to come back and retake the White House and finish what he started. A decision that provoked Biden's DOJ to indict him multiple times for 700 years in prison. And you think, what else is done? What else can you do, man, at that point? You know, I mean, the guy, and another story too, in case people didn't know, we did a story 2 weeks ago about the money, the last 6 presidents that came in with, how much they came in with and how much they left. Donald Trump gave up $1.2 billion to be the president of this country and donated every monthly check to homelessness, Veterans Affairs, and drug abuse. And I'm going to tell you right now, that's the guy you don't want to vote for. You got fucking mental issues or need to go talk to your grandma, because grandma going to slap you in the motherfucking mouth for thinking that.
That's a fact.
That is a fact.
Hey, he's the only president ever to lose money in that deal.
Yeah,
These guys come in and make $250,000 or whatever.
Oh, more than that. They had a story about the Clintons. They came in with 1.7 million and left with $240 million, man, in 8 years.
Yeah, and where's that money coming from?
Yeah, and nobody's still investigating the Clinton Foundation. Yeah. I mean, what a jip, dude. And Hillary Clinton. Man, I've seen scabs prettier than her, dude. She's that's bad, dude. That's bad. Poor Bill. And you wonder why he's going to Epstein Island.
Right, man. Yeah, well, apparently he loves the young hot chick.
Yeah, that's what they said. That he likes them young, boy. He likes them young. So, how are you on a home defense?
Oh,
where do you stand on that?
Well, I'm a big proponent of the Second Amendment.
Amen.
And I don't like to come out and announce all the type of firearms I have. But
no. I'm just asking in general. Yeah, no, I wouldn't have you do that.
Yeah, but I would tell you that the Landers family is well armed, and I feel like we'll be okay, unless an army comes after.
Hey, you live so close. We should put some cockpits on the house. What do they call them? The little towers? What do they call them?
Oh, wouldn't that be great?
Wouldn't that be great?
Hey, because that's where we're going to end up. If it all goes down, we'll be on the roofs.
Yeah, they lose power. Might get one of those. Have to get one of those. The little strings with the cup, so we can talk to each other over there. All right, so back to your job, and so how is it working with the sheriff's department all ththese years?
I've really enjoyed it. I've bounced around to multiple counties. I've been back to in Highlands County for about 5 years.
And that was Polk. I mean, you were in 3 counties around here last.
Yeah, I've been in Hardy, I've been in Polk, and now I'm back in Highlands. Since I've been back, it's really been a joy. The Highlands County Sheriff's Office has been so hospitable to us. They work so well with our agency, and that's why I got a lot of respect for Sheriff Blackman. He made it a point for our agencies to work together. He realized
that's great.
He realized that together with our combined resources and power, we can do a lot more for public safety in this community.
I'm sure having the support of the sheriff's department's got to be really nice too.
It is.
How often do you see him? Do you see him on a regular basis?
he is literally right across the street from him.
Oh, that's fabulous, man.
I've known Sheriff Blackman for a long time.
Well, make sure to put in a good word for me so we can get him on the show.
Absolutely. You know, don't want to name drop, but the under sheriff was the best man in my wedding. So.
Oh, very nice. Yeah. So Sheriff Blackman, if you listen to this, I would love to get you on the Cubby Jaxon show. Just keep that in mind.
Yeah, come on, Paul. This is a lot of fun.
That's it. If you don't mind drinking and cussing, I'm your guy.
Yeah, can you believe I'm getting to do a show and I get to drink alcohol at the same time? This
While
is the
he's
best show ever.
While he's wearing his fishing shirt. Make no mistake. Yes.
Fishing shirt and alcohol. That's what a podcast is
Oh,
all
that's
about.
the best, isn't it?
Oh, I love it, man. Cubby, man, this has been so much fun.
Oh, we're not done yet. We got about 10, 15 more minutes.
I just wanted you to know how much fun I was having. We ain't done yet.
Yeah, well, have a drink, man. Do your best. Do your best drinking. Shit, man. What else you got to do? So we were going to get into a few more other stories. I'm not going to do them. I definitely enjoy having my first guest. This, again, is episode 5 on a Wednesday. And I want to talk some more about the prison. So you told me a story about your dad.
Yeah.
Which I really appreciate. That was a nice little story. And so tell me about that.
Well, first of all, growing up, my dad worked as a warden here in the state of Florida. So, you know, he was the big bad prison warden. You know, at least if you see a movie, that's what it always looks like. My dad really wasn't a big bad guy, but he worked as a warden. And I grew up on prison grounds. The wardens in this state live on the prison grounds. So
that's good.
So we grew up in houses, you know, looking into the fences.
I'm sorry. When we left Okeechobee, we moved up to Trenton, and prettiest prison you'll ever see at night. This thing's decorated like fucking Christmas morning.
Right.
And they have right there next to it is the mobile home park, and that's where all the prison guards stay right there on site, man. Yeah, they don't even have to pay for gas money, which is really nice nowadays. Now that's up 35%. Jesus.
No doubt. And it's not like the state workers are making a huge amount of money. They're putting their life on the line for this community every day and for not a whole lot of money. So you got to respect those guys. They're going, think about it, they're locked in a fence every day.
I mean, you're in a cage with animals.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, I mean, watch the lion, you know.
That's a fact.
Yeah. So what else was going on with the prison? I want to let you finish. I don't mean to keep cutting you off, but I do want to let you finish your story.
Oh no, brother, it's your show. You can do whatever you want to,
but he ain't lying to you.
Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah, so I grew up on prison grounds. So that's all I've ever known is the Florida Department of Corrections, which of course probation and parole is also.
Did you say erections?
The department.
Oh, corrections.
The Department of Erections, and you know that's why my wife married me. Ha ha.
That was from that Con Air. Remember the guy? I work for the Department of Erections. I'm in corrections, baby. Went to eat at lunch in the plane thing. Remember that Con Air?
Yeah. Yeah, I actually met my wife at work one day. She knocked on
I thought you were going to say Con Air.
She goes, I'm looking for the Department of Erections.
Bless her heart.
Yeah.
Bless her. Was she loaded that day or what?
Yeah, she's a good woman. I shouldn't have said that. I take it all back. Wink, wink.
Well, we already know that she let you do things, so that's important to know.
Yeah. Yeah, but like I said, I grew up on these prison grounds, and I've seen a lot of changes over the years. But one of the craziest things to me, first of all, the state prisons that are run by the prisons, I mean, they're doing the best they can, a lot of good folks.
Yeah.
But the state is also contracting out with these private prisons.
Yeah, that was the story you were telling me. That's what I want to get to. The juice, baby. We want the juice.
Yeah, and to me, that's just crazy. I mean, they're working under a different set of rules. They're charging the taxpayers quite a bit of money.
Yeah, without saying too much. I mean, when you talk about breaking the rules, I mean, where are you going? I mean, what happens with that? How does that work?
Well, I wouldn't say breaking the rules because the politicians are all in it, my man.
Yeah, well, they call this the legal system nowadays. Yeah, it's not called breaking the rules. It's called the legal system.
Yeah, exactly. So basically what happens is the state prison system gets stuck with all the worst inmates, while the private prison gets the non-violent inmates that don't really cause you any problems.
You think that's on purpose, of course.
Oh, of course it's done on purpose. They're getting these contracts and the state saving money by not having to pay for health care and pension plans for the correctional officers that they have to on the state prison system. So it's almost like a big wink, wink, nod, nod deal with these private prisons. And, you know, I kind of hate the way that's going. I feel like the state can do it better because we're doing it for the right reasons while the private prisons are doing it for pure profit.
Now, when you're talking about the state and federal prisons, they're all on the up and up. But when it comes, the call comes down from upstairs. I mean, the prisons themselves aren't making the decisions.
No.
Is this like Shawshank where somebody puts it in the envelope and here's your pie for Christmas? You think something like that?
Well, all that starts at the top.
Right.
There's the secretary of the Department of Corrections who's appointed by the governor.
They call that the trickle down effect.
Yeah, exactly. and quite honestly, if the politicians want to do this, if they think that's an opportunity to save money by going with private prisons, then that's what they're going to do. And there's nothing we're going to do on our side of it but implement it.
Right. I mean, that's all part of the guidelines and regulations. I mean, you just kind of follow how the template's written, right? I mean, that's
that's all you can do. You know, when in the long and the short of it, you're going to follow your marching orders or you're out of a job. So
you look thirsty, man. You want a drink?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, why don't you have a drink? So I'm gonna do this last story here for you guys. So God bless these brave dogs. There's this Pennsylvania canines that work with the police department, and they received a bunch of donations of these bullet and stab-proof protected vests. And I wanted to share this story because it's inspiring, man. You know, you have to have something that inspires you during your day. You know, most of the time it's wife and kids, but it's beyond that, man. It could be from God to animals. I mean, we pretty much cover that, my wife and I. But so 11 law enforcement canines in Pennsylvania now have more protection on the job thanks to the generosity of this Pennsylvania State Police Department affiliated with this charity service. So they received bullet and stab-proof vests through the donation of this nonprofit group known as Vested Interest in Canines. Vested Interest in Canines. And we talked before, I think it was our first show we did the charities because we donate to the Gary Sinise Foundation, Tunnel for Towers.
Right.
And so the canines were identified as, and here we're going to go through the list because I have 5 of them, the first 5. So this is Ivan. And Ivan is a black lab, and he's just a cutie pie. Is he just a cutie pie or what?
That's a good-looking dog. Right
yeah, there. The second one is Rome. And then we have, Rome's a badass. No, don't fuck with Rome. I think he's part of that Malamu. I mean, those dogs are just badass.
He looks like he might eat you.
Yeah, man, he's taking a leg off for sure. And then you have Sunny. Sunny's the only girl in the group.
Yeah, but how about those vests? Don't they look cool?
Yeah, they do look cool. This is Sunny. The ears on that dog. Look at the snout on that dog. Man, that dog's got muscles in his shit, man. I'm here to tell you.
Yeah. Hey, well,
yeah.
Cubby, have you ever had a chance to watch these dogs in action?
I've watched some video clips. I got 2 more to mention here real quick. So this is Dexter. Dexter's the next dog. And look at Dexter. That's some beautiful colors. My mom and I used to breed shepherds years ago, and I don't remember none of them looking this badass, man. That dog works out. He must be on the treadmill all day. And the last one is Nash. And look at that dog. That dog, he's just stout, man. I love these dogs, and I love the dog stories. And yes, I did watch a bunch of videos, and that the Malamu is not the Malamu. What the hell is the name of it? That's gonna come to me when I'm not thinking it. But these dogs are officers, man. They're usually the first ones in, and you know, don't mess around with the dogs. I mean, they're somewhat exotic in what they do because there's not a lot of dogs that can do what they do. But they'll take you out, man. Them dogs ain't no joke.
Oh, you're right on. And I've had the opportunity to get to see them working in person, and they're so well trained. And these dogs,
isn't that incredible?
They're so amazing. Let me tell you, I've seen them track people down. I've seen them find drugs. And first of all, I've seen them apprehend some people. And let me tell you, if a cop is telling you to stop or he's going to let the dog go, you better stop because that dog will eat your ass.
Yeah, they're great. We were talking about the cadaver dogs that go and find bodies and other stuff. And these dogs, I mean, they're trained to sniff drugs, find bodies, criminals. I mean, they could track you for miles, some of these dogs, man.
Yeah, that's a fact. And, you know, going back to the prison, growing up on the prison grounds, the prisons in the state of Florida have some of the greatest tracking dogs you'll ever see. You ought to see those guys work. They'll hunt down an inmate. They bring them out to help find missing children. They are amazing. All these dogs that they put to work.
If they could hunt iguanas, that'd be pretty good. Iguanas and boa constrictors, man. We got those things all over Florida. And I always tell people, we got alligators, we got sharks, and we got snakes. We even got bugs that'll kill you. So if you think you're safer here than you are in Michigan, just stay up in the fucking snow. Please, just stay up in the snow.
Hey, let me tell you, all you northern friends of ours.
Yes.
If you're saying you want to come down here and see an alligator, no, you don't. look at it on the internet. You do not want to see an alligator in person.
No, you do not.
They're terrifying.
They'll get you, man. And a lot of times you don't even see it coming. There was a story, God, it's probably been 5-6 years ago, about the couple that was at Disney World, and they had their kid there. I don't remember what area of the park. I didn't even know they had swimming in lakes at Disney World, but they were at one of these parks, and the kid was down in the water and just gone like a flash, man. And these alligators are no joke. I mean, sometimes if you're a grown-ass adult and they get you and you hit them a couple times, sometimes they'll let you go. But if there's something in the water in Florida that's hungry, you just got to be careful, man. I mean, they'll get you, dude. There ain't a lot down here that don't kill you. Even the fucking mosquitoes that kill you if you ain't careful.
Doubt. Well, Cubby, let me tell you my alligator story.
We're going to hear the alligator story.
Yeah, when I was
Listen, pay attention. We have an alligator story for you Yankees.
Well, when I was a teenager, my uncle worked for the game commission. When there's a problem gator coming up on people's property or being threatening, people will call the game commission.
I had to laugh when you said that. You're not talking about a Florida Gator fan.
No, I'm talking about a real gator.
Okay, you Gator fans are safe.
Yeah, and they would call my uncle to go out and catch them, and he was allowed to process the meat, and he sold them to restaurants. So he had to bring these alligators in alive. And he asked me to go with him one time, and I said, "Oh, that'll be fun." I got on that airboat with him, and we tracked down, and he finally caught an alligator, and he didn't shoot him. Like, I know you've all seen that show on TV, whatever it's called, Swamp People.
Yeah, you got to knock him in the head, man, to get the brain. Yeah.
Oh no, he had a spear-like thing, and he would stab them with it, and it would break a cable off under their skin where they couldn't get away, and it would drag that boat all over the lake until the gator wore himself out, and then he would pull that alligator up to the boat, and it would start hitting the boat with his tail and shaking
like a baseball bat. Some of them guys.
And we're doing this in the middle of the night. It's the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life. So if you want to see an alligator, watch it on TV. I've seen it up close. It's like a dinosaur. It's terrible.
Yes. Okay, well, look, we've had a great show here today, and we're going to cut it off. I have a couple more stories that we're going to extend into Saturday night that I want to give you some updates on. It was very, very nice to have Mr. Landris here this evening to talk about the correctional system, and I really appreciate you being here, sir.
Cubby Jaxon, my man, thanks for having me. This was awesome. Hope we can do it again. This has been a lot of fun.
Good. I hope you enjoyed it, brother. Well, listen, thanks for coming to the Cubby Jaxon show. I hope you had a great time at the den. And
cheers, my friends.
Yes, cheers. And it was a good time and a good story and a good show. And we'll get back to it eventually. I want to appreciate everybody for being here. And thank you very much. I hope you had a great time at the Cubby Jaxon show. And rock and roll, baby. Cubby Jaxon show, Cubby's Den, Wednesday, our fifth show, and we'll catch you Saturday. I hope you had a great time. Remember, be kind to one another. As my grandfather used to say, don't be a dick. Thank you for joining the show.